For sure. And I was one of those control freaks in the beginning. I had a real hard time hiring people because I just wanted everything done my way, right? It had to be, it's the only right way to do it.
Tracy Liberatore is the founder of MedLegal Pro LLC, a medical legal consulting firm that pairs attorneys with physicians and PA expert witnesses. She is a rare double-credentialed PA Emeritus, former practicing physician assistant who went back to law school after getting disillusioned with corporate medicine. She wanted her career back. She wanted to be home for her kids. She bet on herself and built MedLegal Pro from scratch. She's also host of the Statues and Stethoscopes podcast and recently launched an academy. She is in year 2 of a brutal comeback after a stretch of personal and business setbacks that nearly took the company down. A year that included lost top clients, abandoned cases, and a chain of attorney threats. She had to fight her way out. Hello, welcome back to Process Over Pressure. I'm Chad Paris, and today I have a guest. Tracy Liberatore is the founder of MedLegal Pro LLC, a medical legal consulting firm that pairs attorneys with physicians and PA expert witnesses. She is a rare double-credentialed PA Emeritus, former practicing physician assistant who went back to law school after getting disillusioned with corporate medicine. She wanted her career back. She wanted to be home for her kids. She bet on herself and built MedLegal Pro from scratch. She's also host of the Statues and Stethoscopes podcast and recently launched an academy. She is in year 2 of a brutal comeback after a stretch of personal and business setbacks that nearly took the company down. A year that included lost top clients, abandoned cases, and a chain of attorney threats. She had to fight her way out. She is exactly the kind of guest this podcast was built for. Not a polished highlight reel, a real founder, still in the climb, still digging out, still betting on herself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, Tracy.
Thank you, Chad.
So glad to have you. We talked about in the pre-podcast and kind of getting to know each other. I thought you had a wonderful story, and I'm just really excited about having you on the show and kind of diving into some questions and some, what it's really like. And so just thank you for taking this time to be on that and next 35, 40 minutes spending with me. And I look forward to get to know a little bit more, and hopefully our guests get to know a little more about you.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So let's start with the question that probably everybody wants to know. Why in the world would you leave medicine to go to law?
Well, because it's exactly what you said in your intro. I got sick of working for somebody else and building somebody else's dream. And I've been an entrepreneur, excuse me, since the beginning. And I thought when I went to PA school that I was going to be able to make out my own schedule. I'd see patients when I wanted. I'd be in the clinic. It'd be a regular, say 9 to 5 job or whatever. But if I needed a day off, I could take an afternoon off, whatever. And that's just not the way it turned out. It turned out, a slave to the system. I could be in the OR, the operating room from 7 a.m. till 7 or 8 o'clock at night on a Monday. And if I wanted to leave at 1 or even 3 o'clock on a Friday, it was, your clinic's done. No, we want you sitting at your desk. I got written up for it once, actually, because I just left. I remember wanting to take time off to go on a honeymoon for my wedding. And they told me, oh, well, you don't have enough PTO to do that. And it was just, to me, I said, well, you know what? You schedule those patients, but I'm not going to be here to see them. So I don't know what to tell you. And I just did not fit into that world. Call me a control freak, but I want control over my life and my freedom. And I want to be around.
Yeah, I love that. And I think there's actually there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have the similar story, that have worked for someone and put in the corporate time. Something that you said, it really resonates with me. And I mean, it hit home with me is I got tired of making money for other companies.
Yeah, building somebody else's dream.
Yeah. And we all been there. I mean, I have. I know exactly how. I mean, it's the reason I walked away is I wanted to build something for myself. And,
Yeah.
we often get caught when we're good at what we do, we get more responsibility. You get more things added to you. You get asked to do more. You do more. No such thing as if you're really good at what you do, someone says, you know what, I want you to do less. That's just not the
Right. No. Doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't, and so, you have obviously was good at your job because you got more and more responsibility, more and more things. What was it like when you got to that decision? When what do you remember the time or maybe where
Oh,
it
I
was?
remember, specifically, there was a commercial that used to be on TV, and I think it was for insurance or something, I don't remember what it was for. But it said in the beginning, something along the lines of, "Why do we wake up every morning, get up, leave the house, leave all of the ones that we love behind to go and work this job?" And I don't remember what it was for, like I said, and I remember hearing that and thinking, "Damn, that's true. Why do I do this? I don't want to do this anymore." And it's like, you hear it a lot. People say you're trading your time for dollars. And I just feel like time is the biggest, most valued commodity that I have. It's not something I can ever get back. And that's only become more acute as my kids get older and older, the faster and faster it seems like every year. And time just flies. And so that's really what it was for me. I just started, for whatever reason, watching that commercial just made me snap and think, like, yeah, why am I doing this? And at the time, I only had dogs I didn't want to leave, but it was just certainly a reality for me. It
Yeah.
was like a wake up call.
Well, I mean, you have kids, you've talked about your kids, and you're right. I mean, this is I'm not sure the age, but there's time in life where eh, they're only gonna be that age once, and they
Oh,
grow.
yeah.
So, having that opportunity, has it made you a better person to have that
Yes,
time back with them and be
I
able
think
to
so.
spend?
There's a lot of factors that go into that. I also have this movement that I've started. I don't know that you and I talked about it. It's called Walk as Her. And that is about healing the mother so the mother can be a better person, but also better for their child. And that is something I find that is just been true through my whole life and important to me for sure. My daughter turns 12 already on Sunday, and I remember her being 2. So it's just gone by so fast.
It
Yeah.
does. Oh my gosh, it goes by fast. And,
Yeah.
for people that are listening that are out there, that's maybe in the same situation. Maybe they're a mother, maybe they're a single dad, or maybe they're a father, or maybe they're whatever they are, right? They're thinking about, you know, why do I get up every day and do this? And, for me, I think there's a time and a place where you get to where you're like, what is the most important thing to me? Because it's easy to get lost in that. It's easy to get caught into, I can't speak for a woman where a lady sits, but I can tell you what I do is a man, we're born and raised to we got to get up, we got to provide, we got to make money, we got to provide, we got to do these things. Right? That's how our DNA was built. And so, you're before you know it, you're never at home and you're working all the time and you're traveling all over the country and you're spending time with everybody else but your own family. Man, that's a very tough pill to swallow.
I would add to that, I do a lot of work with belief systems. And so I think the society has put it on men that they need to do all these things. And yes, it is part of the masculine that is ingrained in them, but truly, there's a lot of men that are coming back to be family men and they want to be around for their kids too. And they're starting to see that. And I think breaking these societal norms that have been imparted on us that aren't even our belief systems to carry and are not benefiting us anymore. And I think that's a great thing too, taking control of their lives and not, because I mean, I think men seem to miss out a lot on some of the family stuff because they're at work all the time, right?
Yeah. Well, it is, and it's important time, and I'm obviously I'm not here to bash work. Like I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer in work. Like I'm not trying to yell people, hey, go out and go against work. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's unique. Everybody's different, and everybody has different values. That's what makes us wonderful humans. We're all in different places. We all have different belief systems. We're human. We have our own thing. For this particular conversation is about, yeah, I think you and I relate a lot that I wanted to spend time with my family. And when I started my company, I wanted to be not only for my own time, but I also noticed it in a lot of business owners. Part of my counseling, I call it counseling. It's not counseling. I'm a consultant, but we're really a business counselor. That's what we do. But I talk to business owners all the time that are really trying to get a work-life balance. And
Yes,
it's hard. It's hard, especially when you're the owner and everybody's looking at you to make decisions. And it's a very difficult spot to be in because you got a company that you need to make sure, but you also have this family. And so it's a pull. It's a constant pull. And we talk about that a lot about the pull between home life, that side of your life, and then the work life. And but there is a way to do it, and you just have to really be mindful of how you do that, and what are you doing inside your company to delegate and to process. And it all comes back to the better process you have, the less time you have to deal on certain situations. So if you're not a great process person, then chances are you're going to be chaotic at work because you're trying to deal with a lot of different things.
for sure. And I was one of those control freaks in the beginning. Like I had a real hard time hiring people because I just wanted everything done my way, right? It had to be this the only right way to do it. I'll tell you, I was forced into having to get help because with my third child, I was getting very sick while pregnant. And so I ended up hiring somebody initially part time, and I had to have an emergency C section at the 8 months. So everything, she sort of got thrown into it. She had to do my job.
Wow.
I couldn't do it. I was sick. I was, in the hospital. So it was actually one of the best things that happened to me because it forced me to let somebody else. And so the company really couldn't have expanded the way it has if I had to continue to be in there doing everything because now she's my operations manager and she does the day to day tasks. I don't even know much about like the runnings of the cases and who's working on what, but I'm more out here like doing these things and to bring in business for the company. And that's really the way it should be for the business owner, I think, in my opinion.
I think that's a great story, and thanks for sharing that because had that situation not have happened, maybe Tracy's still the control freak.
I don't know if it got rid of that, but it certainly helped me expand my business.
It forced you into making that decision and helping,
Yes,
and
it
now
forced
looking
me to
back,
have to allow that to happen, yes, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and now looking back on that and thinking about putting that person, I'm sure I could only imagine that you were probably like absolutely a nervous wreck, freaked out to death because we as business owners we it's our baby. This is our company. This is what we do.
Absolutely,
And we wanna make
absolutely.
sure that it's almost to a place just like we do with our kids. I use this in being a parent. My wife and I talk about this all the time. It's like, hey, being a parent, sometimes you can be what they call a helicopter parent because you wanna be so far in control of them. And, it's pulling back those reins is hard. It is hard to
It
do.
is. It is hard. Again, that's part of what I work on in my other realm of existence. And for Mother's Day, so you talk about birthing things. For Mother's Day, I posted on LinkedIn. I actually have now birthed a new thing. I just literally posted the first post right before coming on here. So this is brand new. I'll announce it here on your show.
Oh, yeah.
So Hecate, between worlds, she helps people travel between worlds, and so I named it that. But this is an AI guide that I've created. So it started off with inside my courses, I have Hecate in every module so that my medical experts can do the practical exams that I created in the course and submit it to Hecate for feedback. So they don't have to wait for me to grade it or they don't have to do self grading. They can get it's like an interactive live course now. And so on the heels of that, I wanted to create something that people could use outside the course that was similar. And so I sat down over the weekend. I mean, I've been kind of putting all this stuff together. And I'm not going to say I built it in a weekend, but put all of this stuff together and created this AI guide now that has 10 years of training behind it of the stuff that I've been working with medical experts. And, it's going to be just a monthly subscription. It'll be very cheap compared to hiring a coach. And so people will be able to submit their reports and it'll give them some feedback the same way I would if they hired me one on one. Now, it can't go into all of the in depth analysis for every case because it's certainly not going to be able to read medical records and do that piece. But it can help with language, it can help with formatting and all of these little things that I've had to teach on repeat over and over. And it's nice because it's a live feedback situation where you can do it at midnight if you want. You have
That's
access to it. You
great.
can do anything, right? So I thought it was amazing.
That is that's really cool. That is awesome. I mean,
So that's my new baby.
well, you know what? I love it because I think that's a great concept. The thing about that is, and what I love, and this is where I smile when you start talking about that, is because You have experiences. You have things that you've experienced, and you have real world practical, "This is a problem that I dealt with." And rather than keeping that to yourself, you had the thought of, "Let me create something that helps not just me, but helps others." And I love that because I can assure you there's other people out there that are already listening that it's like, I struggle with that. I need help with that. I need help with that. And this is a great way for them to be able to go there and get some resources that that would be helpful, right?
Mhm,
I
mhm.
love that. You didn't just sit around and talk about it. You was actionable. You went and did
Yeah, I
it.
did,
That's
I
cool.
built it.
Really cool. So it just launched.
Just launched. Yeah, literally this morning was the first post putting it out there saying, this is now live, and I've been trying to, get in the back end and make sure all the automations work, so hopefully it runs smoothly. I'm sure there'll be a thing or two to tweak, but it's a beta testing price right now. I mean, the price will go up eventually, but for now it's 97 bucks a month. It's very cheap.
How do you so for people listening, if they're like, "Man, tell me more." Can you say the name again and where they can get it?
Yeah, it's Hecate. The red pen is what I'm calling it, and it's really for medical people, clinicians, nurses, doctors who are writing these expert reports and would like some feedback, you know, on what they're writing before they submit it to the lawyer. I mean, grammar checking and just errors of spelling and like stuff a proofreader would need to do. So it's basically getting your report proofread before submitting with a legal mind and the training, like I said, that I've been doing for 10 years. So it's not just like sticking it into an AI tool. This is a trained AI tool specifically for legal medicine.
That's great.
They can get it. They can find my National Expert Academy. I'm on Instagram and there's a link on there. I can give you the link even after the show if you wanted to add it somewhere around this video.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I think there's people probably hopefully listening that's like, "Hey, you know what? I need this," and I'd love for them to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to your channel, and find that link on there. So let's talk about you brought up AI. I wasn't going to, but you did. And since you did, I'm gonna talk about it. So, I own a consulting company. I do a lot of coaching and consulting and business leadership and sales training and things like that. But I also do a lot of AI automation workflow as well. Um, you're a business owner and have been a business owner. And so I want to hear the truth. What's your thoughts on AI for everybody listening?
I think it's an amazing tool if you use it the right way. I have been using it. My goodness. It has literally helped me develop projects that I have had ideas for years and just didn't have the financial resources to be able to pursue. I have another thing that I'm in the process of creating right now. It's a gap in the industry that I've seen. It was a product that I wanted to buy and couldn't find anywhere. And I went to somebody last year and started talking about getting this thing built. And they wanted $1,000 deposit, a $300,000 from beginning to end. You were going to have to get investors and do all this stuff. And I mean, I just didn't have that kind of cash lying around. So I put it on the shelf. And now I'm starting it myself. I'm able to do it myself. I just go in there, I tell it what I want to do, and I'm going to be testing it within MedLegal Pro first, and then it'll be another thing that I'm going to be offering that will be out there for people again, another probably monthly subscription, something or other. But it's really helped me move my business forward. Now, the flip side of that, I think you could get yourself in trouble using it. I've written a piece. I think it's on Kevin MD or somewhere, but people are using this AI now in litigation. Experts are using AI to help write their reports. And while, again, Hecate is in a training setting, it helps you write your report. Your license is on the line. These people are asking AI things. They're submitting reports for legal cases with hallucinations, cases that haven't been really cited. Then the attorney doesn't even double check it. So it gets submitted to the court. Now the counsel and the attorney on file is getting in trouble because they just submitted something that isn't even a real case. And nobody's fact checking this stuff. And when they ask the expert, well, how did you even get here? What did you enter? What prompt did you enter in AI? And well, I don't know. They can't remember. And so that's where they're getting themselves into trouble. There's been other cases that have been brought into court where the expert does know what they've asked or and they've only used it to fact check themselves and do different things. And the courts have said that's okay. So again, it all comes down to balance and it's a tool. And as with any tool, using it the right way.
I think you nailed it. I just I just did an article. It hasn't come out. I was finishing it this morning on. It's called AI the Boogeyman, And it's there's fear, right? There's
Mhm.
this boogeyman being when we were little, hey, the boogeyman under the bed, everybody's scared because there's a lot of people who are scared. And I think you nailed it. AI is a tool. That's what it is. Remember that. And if you're gonna use it, you have to understand where to use it. I've talked to a lot of people with AI automation and try to help them navigate that. And there's a lot of people on different spectrums of where they are. But one of the things I find is that a lot of people who are especially a little nervous about it or scared about it, y you gotta think about AI like this. It's a tool. Remember, that's a tool, just like a shovel, just like a
That's
pick,
right.
just like anything you have, right? Pen, it's a tool. If you use that as a way to give you, because we started this episode talking about time and
That's right.
having time and doing that. If you think about AI as a tool to help you get time, that's a great place to start with it. That's what you should be thinking of AI. How do I do that? So many people are just going out there because there's so many different tools out on the website, and they're buying this one and this one and this one and this one. Next thing you know, they're spending $1,800 a month on a bunch of tools that don't talk to each other and trying to do AI, and they're frustrated with it because they don't even remember the tool they had or how they did it or how they got there, just like the story you just. And you have to that's where, people like myself or someone who's done it is good about helping you. What is the goal and how we're going to get there? And that's where AI works is fixing that goal, wherever that gap is. I love to take manual processes and remove those so that
Yes.
you have time. And that's a great
Yes.
way to look at it. And that's what I tell people all the time in my discovery calls with them when we're talking about projects that they're trying to do or where their frustrations are. Because so many people just go out and start spending money and they
Mhm.
have no idea where they want to go.
I've done that.
It happens.
Yeah.
Because it's listen, it's new, everybody's talking about it, everybody's throwing stuff at you about it, and you think, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. Okay, I want it's gonna you just said it's gonna give me a whole bunch of time. Well, let's spend the money on it." And then they do that, and then it's like, "All right, well, what'd you spend money on?" "Well, I don't know. It was just very expensive, and I don't know how it works in my system."
It was a really
Y
good sales ad.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's looked like it could help me, and I think the problem we run into as business owners too is, like, we know where we wanna be, but we don't always know how to get there, right? And it's just
that's
like,
right.
"Okay, I'm here, I wanna be here," and it's usually based on income and finances, and how do I get there? And so you find it you see a really nice ad, and it tells you it can help you, and then, you buy the thing, and then it's like, "Well, okay, but I'm still over here," right? And I think we fall into that trap a lot. I personally have fallen into that trap quite a bit as a business owner.
It happens. I mean, everybody, we live in a society too. Our culture has taught us to be instant gratification, just like this. That's why we everything's at our fingertip. And I
Yeah.
and I and I hear it often. I mean, I could tell you horror story after horror story working with companies where they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars and then they have nothing to show for it. And it just kills me every time because I, as an executive on the other side of that before, I've been with companies that did that, where we spent monies and just like you said, and then next thing you know, you're invested in all this stuff, and it's like, end of the day, you're 2 years in, it still doesn't work.
No, yeah.
And so you're like, "Forget this, we're going back to pencil and paper." Like, we're not doing it
Yeah.
anymore.
We go back to
And
the spreadsheet, back to the
yeah,
Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Yeah.
yeah, and it's sad because people are just taking advantage of people out there and not really
Yes.
understanding. They're not understanding the business owner and the business. They don't understand what they do. And then they're not really trying to mirror what works for them because not every tool is the same for each company. You have people who, for example, may have 20 people that work inside there and they have a bigger staff. Well, they can do more things because they have more work to do that. Then you have very lean people, and they can't do the same thing in each one because of the load and where it works. So yeah, I mean, you've experienced it, and I'm sure it's frustrating.
Struggle. I've been trying to get automation for my company for a couple of years, and we have a very unique business. And so I was starting to try to look into the different companies and systems that are out there for lawyers to run their cases through. And I just couldn't find anything that could do what we needed to do. It's like these things were built and everybody wanted to sell me that. their system was going to be the one to help me. And I signed up for a couple of them and ended up having to try to get my money back because we couldn't fit into those systems. And so that's why, you know, we really needed a custom designed system for my business. It's just not medical and it's not legal. It's a combination of the two. So we weren't fitting in anywhere.
Yeah, and a lot of a lot of legal, very highly information that doesn't need to be out in the open and stuff like that. And so,
Hmm.
you have to work within that. And there's again, you have to understand that world. I've actually had a few lawyers on my podcast, and this is we talk about this, and that that you have to in the legal world, legal and medical, I would say, that are the main two. In those two worlds, you have to be cautious about what type of AI tool you use because
Well, yes.
there is private information. And not only that, but it's how it's plugged into the system, into your system, and being able to there's a way to use it internally so that it doesn't become external, and you have to really understand that, or you can get into a really tough situation, and that's not fun.
Well, and that's another aspect of this whole AI thing that's going to, kind of a little the scarier angle is all the cybersecurity stuff. I've noticed just for myself, all of the two-factor authentication stuff has all of a sudden blown up. It's like everywhere now. And I have a feeling that's because of, everybody's concerned about AI being able to hack systems and do things. And I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. We're certainly entering interesting times.
We are. I mean, and it's you know what? It's fun, it's scary,
It's
uh,
both.
it's both, right? And, I tell people this all the time, and, when the internet came out, we all felt the same way. If you were around at that time, you remember. I mean, younger people watching, they're like, "I don't even know what that means."
What
But
that means. Yeah, right.
but we all were this way. Remember Y2K, the 2000 is gonna like
Oh,
everything
yeah,
in
it
the
was
world
gonna
was gonna
crash,
stop,
everything was gonna yeah. I try to explain to my children that we had a phone that hung on a wall with a cord, like, there wasn't a phone that you took with you when you left the house. I mean, you
right?
left the house, nobody could get you, nobody could find you, you were gone, like, it was
Yeah.
nice.
Like, you actually had to send a message, like, through a piece of paper, and you wrote it down, and you mailed it to somebody. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I remember still getting, like, getting letters, like, I got letters.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah, in the mail, right.
there is no
Pen
such thing.
pals.
I hadn't had a letter in 15, 20 years, but nobody does that anymore, right?
No, now it's
Everybody
all email.
everybody sends an email, and and just think about where we were at that time. You're right. That's funny you said that about the phone. I bet they looked at you like, "Have you lost your
Yeah, and it
mind?"
was I mean, they're just like yeah, I mean, I've seen videos of people showing their kids an old phone, and the kids look at it like they don't even know what to do with it. They don't even know what it is. It's like, "What are these buttons for?"
Do you remember the first cell phone, the bag?
Oh my god, yeah. I remember the first one I had, it was like a big brick.
Yeah. We had these bags. I thought when it went in the car, you put it in
Oh, I
there and
remember
you
those,
plug
yeah.
it into the cigarette lighter and put the little antenna
Mhm.
on top. It was gonna be
We
the
never
greatest
had one
thing
of
ever.
those, but we did have I remember my father buying the first one, and I had just started college at the time. I think I had just graduated high school. And, he finally bought one, and I remember there was one girl in high school that had a cell phone, and of course, oh my god, like, that was the greatest thing ever. But I remember
See,
him coming home with that phone, and I just sort of picked it up and walked off with it. I still have that phone number actually that I
that's cool.
absconded
Do
from
you
him
really?
at the time.
That's cool. You should call it sometime, see who answers it.
I actually it was my phone line up until about maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
That's
I
cool.
held on to that 'cause because of that story. I mean, it was, like, sort of something my father gave to me. He is still with me, thankfully, but, won't be forever, and I just can't give it up but I had to. I It's its own separate line at the moment because it got overrun by, like, people trying to sell me a loan and every other whoever got my phone number as a business owner, again, another mistake, so I now have a secret new phone number that's just for business. Yeah,
That's funny. So, let me ask you this, we're not too far. We got a little while left, and I do wanna talk about your business and,
sure.
what do you see for your business in the next 90 days and maybe the next 6 months, a year?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope, like I said, the academy takes off. I just launched it about 2 or 3 months ago itself. I've had a couple people come in through that and are doing the courses. I've had a lot of really good feedback on the courses themselves, the content. What I'm trying to do with that is so there's this thing in the industry with medical experts that once they get on the stand, opposing counsel wants to rip them apart if they've ever had training. They want to call them a hired gun, that they're, kind of trained to do this stuff. And I actually just wrote a piece on this. I'm waiting to see if it's going to get picked up. But, we train to go to medical school, we train to go to law school. Why would you treat like your training on your education experience any different for doing expert work? I mean, this is a high stake type of a business. Like, why would you expect your expert to not have some sort of training and education on how to look through a medical record through a legal lens or how to write your report? So they get attacked on the witness stand for having any kind of training. And so what I'm trying to do with National Expert Academy is create something that instead of being something that gets picked apart, it's something that's seen as an asset. It's something that, lawyers look to and say, "Oh, I'm glad they went through that because it's a non-biased training. It's just education on the law, what you're doing with this case, and you're not formulating an opinion for either side. Doesn't matter who your client is, the facts are the facts. The lawyers hiring you from either side want to know the answer. What is it? Is it good or bad? Because they don't want to find out at trial that you made something up or just were trying to advocate for their case. That's not what your job is. Your job is to be a non-biased person that comes in and says what happened, good or bad for the client, attorney client. So I would like National Expert Academy to be the standard, that teaches clinicians what they need to know to look at these cases and write the reports that they need to write. And we're not training them to be hired guns. We're training them to know their job. So that's where I'm trying to go with all of this.
I love that, and totally makes sense. I mean, why would you? I mean, if you're an expert, you don't just get that title without learning. Like you get in
Unfortunately,
it.
you can. And then the problem becomes that they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And then they write a report that doesn't have strong enough language or it's not really stating their opinion because we're trained in medicine to have this differential diagnosis every time we see a patient. We're trained to guess. We're trained to think wide and then do testing and stuff to come up with an answer. And we're also taught to write and document medically. You're passing information to the next treating provider. You don't have to talk about everything that's in your head. And pretty much in medicine, they just want, well, what's wrong with me and how are you going to fix me? Well, in the legal world, it's completely different. We need to know everything that happened in your head to get to this answer. The conclusion should be known before you even get to it in a report. Everything you say to get there should already know the answer by the time you get there. And so it's hard for people and for clinicians, nurses, doctors when they first start doing this because they don't understand that. Even if they're writing and they're really great writers for clinical trials and they've done research and they've done all this stuff, they still don't understand without some sort of education what they need to do in the legal world. And so that's where I'm hoping that's the gap that I'm hoping to fill.
That's a really I love the way you said that. It's not that they don't know, it's we're changing the methodology which in
Mhm.
way that they were trained because you have to do it differently
That's
for
right.
legal cases.
It's the same education, same medical education, but a different way of documenting. I call it the brain flip because it took me an entire year of law school to learn how to write this way. I remember I got my first 60 on an exam the first time, and I thought I did a really great job. And it was just, the whole, and again, it's the analysis piece. Like, I didn't get it. I was writing conclusions, and the teacher would say, "This is a conclusory statement." And I would look at it and go, what? Why? How? It took me, felt like forever to get it. But once you get it, you get it. And so,
That's
yeah. So that's,
but
yeah.
it's it makes total sense, right? I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
it is just when we go to college or you go to schooling, you're trained to work within that profession, and
That's
that's the
right.
way they train you. And then now you've got to do it totally different. That's tough. I think that's what makes you unique is because you've been on both sides. You've been on both sides of that. You've been on the legal side of it, or you are on the legal side of it. You also been on the medical side of it. So understanding where both of those worlds collide
Mhm.
and the differences is what makes you an expert in that to be able to help other people. And I think what you're doing with this academy and some of this stuff is great because I could imagine that there's people that are struggling with this that are out there that it's like, hey, this could help.
Mhm.
Now, getting them to admit to remove the pride and admit that they need help, that could be the challenge. But at least
Well,
there is
hey,
something out there.
You could do $97 a month and do it in the comfort of your own home. Nobody has to know.
There you go.
You and
Well, hey,
Hecate.
that's a great choice. That's a great choice. Well, one last question as we kind of end. If you had to do it all over again, would you go into medical again or legal from the start?
Well, I guess I don't know that I'd change much, to be honest with you. Look, it's been a lot of struggles along the way, but the end result is I absolutely love what I do. I love the
I love
people I
that.
work with. Have the freedom and the flexibility of time. If I'm like next Friday, I'm taking off to go on a field trip with my daughter, and it's my life belongs to me. I do what I love, and I'm not really sure I'd change anything. The
That's
struggles
all.
really are what bring us where we are today. I mean, because without the struggles in MedLegal Pro, there wouldn't be a National Expert Academy. I would have never gotten out of my comfort zone and opened this up to the public.
I love that perspective, and I think it's so true. We all have bumps and bruises and wish I could do overs, but
Expansion is
reality,
painful, but it's always worth it in the end.
the road that each one of us travel is unique and different to our own path. But in
That's
that
right.
path is what teaches us the resilience and who we become. And I think that's the mindset that you have to be in. Is that whatever you're going through, you got to go through it in order to be better on the other end of it.
That's it.
So, if they were wanting to reach out, I'd love for you to just tell them how they can get in touch with you. Give you an opportunity here to kind of tell them, how do we find Tracy? She's awesome. I want to talk to her. How do I find her?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. I mean, we're on Instagram. It's medlegalpro.com is the main website. TLL at medlegalpro.com is my email. I can certainly 844 medlegal is 844 is the you'll get Autumn, my assistant, but you still get in touch with us. And then I can certainly give you links if you want to that you can put with this video.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being a guest today. It's been a real honor and a privilege to be able to speak to you, and very interesting. Just a really good conversation. And so, again, I'm Chad Paris with Stonefly Consulting. If you're out there and something you hear and you're looking for a consultant that could maybe help you with business process or tell me a little more about how I implement AI into my office, I'd love to talk more about that. Totally free to have a discovery call and just hear where your needs are, and then I can give you a good plan. But thanks for joining the show, and we look forward to the next time. So every time it's process over pressure. Thanks.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it. Loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Uh,
Nice
thoughts?
conversation.
It was easy, right? I wanted to
Yeah,
be just
absolutely.
casual and more of a conversational. So, so what's next for you?
So, like I said, I'm in the development of what it is it's a conflict check system for medical experts that doesn't exist. So people come to us and they want to do conflict checks. Everything has to be done manually. And I've been looking for some way to automate that for a long time. And that's what I'm developing right now inside MedLegal Pro. And I'm gonna opening that to the world. And I mean, I guess for me the biggest thing is just I have like lots of products out there right now trying to get visibility, get eyeballs on it, and get stuff selling.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Well, I'll have this podcast and I'll give you the raw footage so you can use it. That nice little about your your new site and stuff that you can put out there. And I don't know where you are. If I can be of service to you or help or you run into people, love to love to you know if you need me, I'd love to work with you. If you have a need or there's a way I can help. I don't just so you know, I don't charge to have a conversation. A lot of people want to charge you by hour just to have a conversation, but if there's something you're working in and you're like, hey, I need some help with this, I'm always happy to listen and then I'll give you my analysis on what I think to do. You can take it, throw it in the trash, or you can say, "Hey, this is good."
Hmm.
Uh, Before we ever talk about a commitment, it's more of, "I just wanna know what your needs are," and you may not know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Part of what it is to dig it out of you
I
because
think my
sometimes
biggest need right now is just I don't know. I guess if I had to guess, it would be marketing because I don't know. I think I have some really great products out there, but it's like getting people's eyeballs on it and getting them to understand how it can help them, I guess. I mean, I've built the pages, I send people to the funnels. The only thing that seems to be doing any of the selling is my articles that post on Kevin MD. People read my stuff on there and they come and they buy my stuff. I don't know. It's just crazy. None of like the pay per click stuff works. Like even I've tried LinkedIn, I've tried Facebook. I mean, it's just like lots of people come to the page, but they don't buy. And so I don't know. I think it's just going to be like a longevity thing and me continuing to put myself out there. Again, all this stuff that I am totally out of my comfort zone doing, but because of what happened, I have to do it.
Yeah, I think it's marketing is a long play. It's a quick fix, but I think capitalizing on the things that are working and multiply those. It sounds like you're just listening to you, your articles are resonating with people. I would try to find more ways to incorporate the articles into the other platforms because I think it's especially for a professional legal mind, they're going to lend more toward an article over just a. I mean, that's what they're going to look at because they want to see an expert. So it's probably why it's working better. I would imagine. But yeah, I mean, Tracy, if I can help, I'd love to help. When I send you that, I'll have a little link that you can always email me. You can always if there's hey Chad, let's get on the call. I got some stuff I could use some help on. Love to help you. All right. And not charge you a whole bunch of money to do nothing. Yeah. Well, that I hate that as you're going through it, but again, it's gonna be a bump in the road, it's gonna make you better, but again, I like to be transparent, and I like for us to just to I think it's about building a relationship, and you get to see how I am. I'm very transparent, I'm very upfront. If I can't help you, I'm gonna tell you I can't help you, I'm not gonna just stake money because I say that I can do something. If I can't do it, I'm just gonna tell you. I do have a lot of connections in different avenues and a lot of I hear things, I've got other people that I work with say, "Hey, you need to talk to this person." I don't have enough pride in me to say, I want all the money. I'm okay with going, no, this is who you need to talk to. I'm not going to be your expert in that. That's what you'll get with me. And that's how I work. I don't believe in telling you a bunch of garbage that's not true. I'm just going to tell you what straight up. So if you like that, then they'll probably work well together. And if you don't, probably won't. I'm just going to tell you straight up, like this is what you need, or this is what I think you need, and then you make the decision. But I'm good at giving my opinion. All right. Well, thank you again, and look forward to hearing from you. Okay. Bye bye.